land's fun to have, and it's a good safety net. Like if you ever needed to go put a house somewhere, camp with your family, it's something that's making you money and can like bring so many other advantages to your life in general.
Or if you guys are doing subdivision projects, keep a piece. That's maybe we should do that. Keep a piece of every subdivision project we do. It's long-term capital gains when you do end up selling that down the line. If you end up selling it,
you have a really nice piece in a really hot area that comes back, and you look at it, and yeah, you can double your money, but maybe one time you want to hold it. Or if it's near your hometown or you like to hunt, that's what I use my land for. I go and hunt on it a few times a year.
It's easier to find a good land deal than it is a good multifamily apartment. You can easily get under 20% under market value on the market.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today's topic, we're discussing the pros and cons of holding land long term. I'm your host, Daniel Apke, joined again by my brother and business partner, Ron Apke. And this is something we personally do as a strategy for multiple reasons, and we're going to get into those today. But we bought a property a couple years back in northern Kentucky and are holding it for long term, and we're looking to do that some in the future as well. There's some good advantages of it, and there's a lot of different things we're going to be discussing today, Ron.
Yeah, I think it's just another thing. We've talked about it in the last few episodes. It's another thing to just change your portfolio a little bit, where it's not all stock, it's not all 401, whatever it is. It's not all high risk crypto, whatever it is. It's just a little bit of diversity. I think it provides some stability within a portfolio. So yeah, excited to get into this.
Cool. Well, where do you want to start?
Let's just talk about it as a whole. Like we can talk about our Kentucky property. So we bought that, how's it long has it been? 2-3 years? It hasn't been that long. We actually bought it from a student and gave him a pretty sizable assignment fee to get it. It was in our local area, about an hour away from our hometown. So thought it was a good investment. He made good money. We got a good investment. Mm-hmm. We bought it for $100,000 all in. I think after his assignment, it was probably worth $160,000 when we bought it, right?
Yeah, probably on there.
Today, I haven't looked at have you looked at the market there recently?
No, but no, I haven't. I looked last year and it's very hot there.
It's mid twos, I would guess.
Mid to upper twos, I would imagine. Yeah, but what I was going to say was this member brought us the deal to fund, and I remember seeing it for the first time, and I was like, this is our future property, Grant County. Like this is right there. It's nice land. Lots cleared, wooded lots, creek, like it was perfect land, and it was just from someone coming that brought it to us to review and to fund their deal, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw it, and then that's how we tackled the opportunity.
But yeah, to get into like the numbers, like it was worth 3 years ago when we bought it, whatever it's been, 2-3 years, $150,000. We bought it for $100,000, and it today it's worth at least mid twos. Like that's the thing about land, and that's what I want to get into this episode, like the appreciation. You can also do projects on these land. It's just the long-term, I think the asset class as a whole, like I think the appreciation is going to increase. Yeah. Like I think it's going to appreciate more than most markets in terms of structures. If you get it in the right area, if you can see trends, which if you're listening to this, like you're interested in land investing, maybe you're not doing deals yet, but you can see, you analyze trends, everything like that, and it is a safe long-term asset, and that's really the key to it. That's why I like it so much. It is so safe, and
can't get more of it.
We could get $250,000 tomorrow.
Yeah, literally, and it's not going to make you cash now, and that's why I don't suggest it for people at first. But if you're sending out a bunch of mail and you have a really nice piece in a really hot area that comes back, and you look at it, and yeah, you can double your money, but maybe one time you want to hold it, or if it's near your hometown or you like to hunt. Like that's what I use my land for. I go and hunt on it a few times a year, and you can do some recreational stuff on it too. But it's something, if you're sending out mailers, even if you're not, if you just want to hold it long term and get a really good asset and own some land, like it's fun to have. Land's a great asset. You can't make more of it. Obviously, we're going to go over to the advantages and disadvantages, but let's start with the disadvantages of owning land long term. The number one thing is the cash. I mean, you don't make money off of it.
Yeah, it's not. It's I kind of compare it to a stock because it is so low tax. Like there isn't much money out of your pocket. Less liquid stock. That's a good way to put it. So yeah, that's how it kind of is. Like you're not bringing in cash flow. It's bringing in no cash flow unless you do some things. We're not really going to get into that. The few dollars you can make. Like there are ways to make more money on land if you do camping or something like that. Yeah. But I don't really want to get into that in this episode.
Yeah, you could definitely do that if you want to.
But it's work. It's a business.
It's work, and you can create a business on.
We're talking about just holding that. Yeah, it's not bringing cash. Like we bought that for $100,000 all in. We put some money into clearing the land, making it a little more huntable, making it a little more usable for us. So $105,000 after everything, and it might be worth more than that today. We could like take out a loan against it. Probably, I have no interest in doing that, but we haven't got a dime from the land.
Yeah, exactly. We and the disadvantage is not only does it not make you money.
Takes money.
It takes some money. So you got to find a way to buy the land. And where else could you be using that money? There's a trade-off there. And also along with that, you have to pay taxes every year. They are minimal, and that's also one of the advantages is low cost to hold. But if you're comparing it to asset class like stocks, it's $0 to hold.
Yep.
You know, and if you're comparing it to a lot of different asset classes, it's crypto, stocks, gold, silver, it's $0 to hold. And that's just something to call it too. It costs a little bit of money to hold. The thing is though, the taxes are very, very low. And I think it's worth a good trade-off because it's just very low tax and it appreciates much, much higher than that typically, as long as you're in a good area.
So we go to the pros now.
What else is a disadvantage? Maintenance?
I mean, you don't really need to maintain it. Some areas you need to. Like the biggest con, if you're thinking about it, is like it pulls cash out of your pocket because you need to buy the land, and then you're not having any cash come in.
It's illiquid too.
Yeah, it's not. That's a good point. That it's not as liquid of an asset as something else.
And you got to post it and sell it. You don't know what the price you're going to get. You might need realtor. I would suggest.
Where a stock, you know exactly.
A stock, you pull it out. You know the pinpoint. And you get the money that the next day, same day type stuff. You pull it out at that time.
I agree. I think those are probably the biggest ones.
Being illiquid it's not a concern because I know how well I know what land will sell for and how well it sells if you do it properly. But for someone who doesn't know what they're doing, it can be a big challenge, I think. And you're going to have to get a realtor, and then you're going to pay them 10% or 6% or whatever you end up paying them. Or you can just list it yourself like we do and learn how to market it properly and all that.
So who would you suggest it for? I know we're going to get into the pros here. As far as like
people
just
with money, I mean, it is going to appreciate. People who just want more security, diversify their portfolio. If you want to do cool things with it, and you want to buy a big chunk of land, 100 acres, and subdivide some off and pay for the principal, you can do that. Like, you buy 100 acres, subdivide off 5-acre lots, 20, and keep 75 of them, and it probably will pay for the land, right?
Yeah, and going kind of into the pros from there, Dan. Like it is both. It's an asset. Like that is one of the biggest things. Like it is an asset. It is extremely like there just aren't many dips in land cost. Sometimes it will get over. The market will jump up too high and then it'll correct itself and go down a bit. But overall, like
it's not volatile. Yeah,
it's not stable. A volatile. Like a stock can be volatile if you're buying a single stock. 401k overall, but that can also tank. Maybe real estate land tanks with it, but it does not tank at the same rate.
No, you can look in the data on that.
Yeah, it's a flatter.
It's not. Yeah, it's not as steep of a curve
with the same upside, 11%.
Similar. Yeah, it won't like when the market shot up 25% or whatever it did, or 20% in COVID year. It didn't go up 12%, 20%, but it went up a lot more. And then on the down years, it does not go down that much, especially in good markets. Like it's like anything. If you pick land in a really bad market, not all land's going to appreciate next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you find these nice areas that are growing and people are moving to and they want to live there, and it's just nice to live, like those are going to appreciate much, much more. I'm confident I can pick land that's going to appreciate 20% in the next few years if I just look into it.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And one of the other things, Dan, that I was thinking about is like you can have, just like we did, you can have instant equity. And that's any real estate, but land in particular, because if things aren't listed right, like it's easier to find a good land deal than it is a good multifamily apartment.
20%, get 20% under market
You can
value.
easily get under 20% under market value on the market. Like you don't have to do those off market. Off market, you can buy it for 50% of market value. You can do so many different things with that, and you can have an instant. Like if you look at that, we bought it for $100,000. It's worth $300,000. Like we have 300% ROI in 3 years. Like that is beating everything else, every other long-term investment.
But we also got it for, what do we say, 60% of market value.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why we have such a good ROI on our money.
If we bought it for market value, it's still
double, 200%. Yeah, about double. But yeah, I think those are some of the bigger things, honestly.
I also, one of the advantages is you do have flexibility to make other money off your land.
Yeah.
Like there are some ways to cash flow if you really want. There's timber. Like if you want to make some money on timber, you can make good money on timber.
People make careers on that.
People make careers on timber. You can rent it out. You can do different things. And just outside of that too, like owning a piece of land, if you believe like this country, the population's growing, things are going to continue to grow over time naturally. It's finite. Like there's not an unlimited amount. And that's just something that you can't. That's why Bitcoin is like one of the leaders in the crypto space, is because there's not an infinite amount. Like it has a cap and a production cap and everything like that. And that's with land too. In the United States, there's only so much of it, and you're buying into a limited resource. And that's one of the reasons I like it. Along with that is like, along with the investment and everything else, and low taxes and the appreciation. The appreciation is the main thing, Ron, for the advantages. But along with that, like land's fun to have, and it's a good safety net. Like if you ever needed to go put a house somewhere or whatever, get away and go hunt or camp with your family, it's something that's making you money and can like bring so many other advantages to your life in general.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it like most other investments you can't really use as you own it, honestly, like
unless it's depreciating like a car or something.
Yeah. A primary residence, but it's not. I don't, people argue if that's an actual investment or something like that because it takes so much money out. But yeah, rental property, all the stock, 401k, you obviously can't use any of that as you're doing it. Like land, you can go feed yourself off the land.
Feed yourself off the land. You could subdivide it off and make your money back off the land. Like that's one of the things I would look at personally. If you buy a big chunk of land and you want to make some of your money back that you purchased with, you can subdivide a certain amount off of that, sell it, and hopefully get a lot of your principal, if not more, back.
Or if you guys are doing subdivision projects, you break it up and keep a piece. That's like, maybe we should do that. Keep a piece of every subdivision project we do.
The difference if you got 20 lots and you're keeping one.
Yeah, and you're making, opposed to making, I don't know, you get to the last one, you just hold the last one. It's long-term capital gains when you do end up selling that down the line. If you end up selling it, you can 1031 into bigger pieces of land down the line. Like there's a lot of opportunity, and that's what I like about land as a whole. We could talk for hours and hours with this episode. Is there's so much opportunity in it. Like owning this 40 acres in Kentucky that we own, I don't know what we're going to be doing with that in 20 years. Maybe it's more than one parcel in 20 years and it's 4 parcels or 10 parcels or something like that. There's just so much opportunity with what you can do about it. Maybe there's multiple houses on it that we built on it because cities are moving farther away from cities. Like the suburbs are now an hour away from cities, opposed to being 20 minutes away from cities.
That area just keeps to grow.
100%.
Yeah, and the suburbs there.
It just there's a limited with populations growing, with cities growing. Like there's a limited amount of land, and a limited amount of space, and people really want that right now. Like they want a place to hunt, they want a place to spend time.
I agree.
And I don't have much more to add though. Like it's not for everyone. Like that's one of the keys we want to get out of this is, if you have $20,000, I'm not telling you to go buy a piece of land to hold forever. Like you need to find a way to turn that $20,000 into 100, turn that 100 into $500,000. Then you can talk about, okay, maybe I can buy a $50,000 piece of land, and hold it long term and let that grow. It's not for everyone immediately, but if you are in a position, there's not many better places to put your money passively.
Especially if you know land, like our audience does. Like if you know land and you know you're getting it at 60%, and you can hold it and you want to keep it, like that's the key. We had a recent podcast on, reinvesting your money. This is an area where you can reinvest your money, is land. And being already in land and knowing knowing the area so well gives you an advantage over everyone else. So instinctually, you're going to make more money from putting your resources back in the land just from doing that. You're going to get a better deal than the average person because you're going to know what you're looking at and everything else that comes along with it.
Yep. I don't have anything else.
No, as always, guys, thank you for joining. Please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. It really helps drive our mission forward. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next episode. As always, thank you for joining. Please do us a huge favor and like and subscribe our YouTube channel and share this with a friend. It really means the world to Ron and I, but more importantly, it could help change the life of someone else. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next episode.